Welcome to the KW NextGen podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Pennington, and part of the NextGen team. We will hear stories from young adults who are living big lives and attaining really big goals. KW NextGen is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Gary Keller of Keller Williams. Our mission is to empower and equip the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with the tools needed to remove limiting beliefs, take action, and live a big life. KW NextGen is founded on the models and systems of Quantum Leap, the material that Gary Keller has been teaching for years. It helps people understand how to build big businesses, to live really fulfilling lives, to understand financial literacy, and remove all of those blockages. So join us as we talk with our young adults who are implementing these practices and really accomplishing their big dreams at a young age. We'll also have a chance to talk with our instructors, our board members, and our coaches who are pouring into the next generation and making a really big impact on their community and our world at large. So let's jump right in. Hi, welcome to the KW NextGen podcast. How's it going today?
Hey, Caitlin. I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. Well, before any further ado, can you introduce yourself and let us know, how are you involved with KW NextGen?
Yes, my name is Ravi Gullavendala. I'm 27 years old from Philadelphia, and I am a realtor with Keller Williams Bluebell, and I found KW NextGen in 2024 and took Quantum Leap for the first time.
Awesome. So you've been part of the community for a couple years now, which we're so grateful for and so excited to dive into your journey and how that being part of the community has influenced your life. So in your words, what is KW NextGen?
So I look at KW NextGen as an organization that provides tools, resources, coaching, and scholarships that helps young people in the first chapter of adulthood. It helps build some structure so you can live a bigger life.
How are you involved?
So I've taken Quantum Leap 2 times. The first time I took it locally at my market center. The second time I had the privilege of going to the summit in Austin, Texas. And that was a great experience. Met some really impressive young entrepreneurs and made some great relationships. From there, just wanted to stay connected, and I'm looking forward to coming as a leader this year.
Yes. And that's a great example of this isn't a one and done type of thing. You can take Quantum Leap, you can stay involved, you can live the journey, and then you usually want to take it more than once. I don't even know how many times I've been in a Quantum Leap class at this point, quite a few, and I still feel like I learned something new and different from it. And for anyone that's listening that maybe isn't in the KW ecosphere or in Keller Williams, the Market Center is our brokerage offices. So since Ravi is a realtor with KW, that's a really great way to bring this material, to bring that mindset and all of the different skills and tactics that Quantum Leap provides to the agents in what we call the Market Center, which is the office. And I just love that because then that inspired you to then come to Austin for our QL Summit. And KW NextGen has that once a year annually in June. And then this year you get to join us as a leader. Do you want to tell us a little bit about why you're excited to be a leader?
So I agree with you. Taking QL multiple times, you end up wanting to take it again and again. And every time you take it, you're at a different stage in your life and development. And this time I'm in a very different stage of my life in building my business as a realtor locally, that I'm excited to really share my experience and show a little bit of my success and, give feedback and really bounce ideas off of my peers. That's really what I took out of last year, is just some of the amazing people that are in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're a great example of coming and attending and soaking it all in as a sponge. And then you can't help but then want to step into a leadership role. I mean, it really teaches you the skills and tactics to then be oh, I'd love to mentor someone else, even if that person is 6 months younger than you or a couple years younger than you. It still gives us all the opportunity to be able to step into more of that leader mentor role. And with you all as your QL Summit leaders, you're peer leaders too. So you guys are people that have been part of QL Summit, have been part of KW NextGen. And so then that way, people that come and attend maybe have no idea what they've gotten themselves into, or, were sent by someone, or maybe they're a little bit younger. We have people that are 18, just getting out of high school. They have the opportunity to be able to look up to you all or kind of be guided with you while also still being somewhat peers and still in somewhat of the same phase of life, which is really, really special. I want to rewind a little bit to that first time you took Quantum Leap. So you said you took it in your market center. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience, maybe who you took the class from, or even a little bit rewinded back of like before you have ever stepped into the classroom? Like, what did you know about it? What made you attend in the first place?
Yeah, great. If I rewind back then, uh, I joined KW in 2024, not knowing much of what KW has to offer. There's so much that this company has to offer that you really just have to dive into it. And then as you're exposed, you have more things presented to you. So I was at our local team meeting one month, and Quantum Leap was presented to me as just a great opportunity to get a little bit more intentional with my time and find some direction. I was like, wow, this is great. So I attended. We had 3 instructors there, as well as also Usha Patel, who's a member of the board, was there
Yes.
too, which is my first experience meeting Usha, who's fantastic ambassador for the organization. I had a great rapport with her as well as the agents at my market center, that they were able to see my work leading up to that and give me a little bit of more personalized direction. I needed some direction, I needed some coaching, and that was a perfect transition to the coaching. So when I was there, I learned that was the first time that I really sat down and tried to figure out what's my big why? What is my mission? I was never a realtor before, and I was never Keller Williams before. And this is a company that has systems and models and coaching. So being at QL, which is, even though it's not real estate specific in any way, it does provide that systems, models, and coaching. So I was able to dive deeper into my mission statement, my GPS, my 411, which is my goals, priorities, and strategies, and then have my goals and then break it down to a yearly, a monthly, and a weekly level so I could measure these things. And that was something I never did before in trying to build a business, because that was new to me.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, so I love that, but, yeah, I think that that's what's so important. Going back first is that it was introduced to you at a team meeting, right? And I think that that's what's so important for those of us that are part of KW NextGen, to remind ourselves that it's just an invitation. It's just letting someone know. People don't know what they don't know, and if you are within Keller Williams, there are so many amazing classes, there's so many amazing resources, that it's sometimes hard to pick and choose what to attend and what not to, and what you have time for and what to prioritize. But to your point, Robbie, Quantum Leap is not necessarily about real estate. And I think that's what makes it so special, that if you happen to be in real estate, you happen to be a young new agent, which I was at one point too. And it's just there's so much information to try to absorb, and you're trying to build your business and you don't even hardly know which way to turn. It helps you filter down to like the big why, which is what exactly what you said of like, why am I doing these things? Why do I want to build my business? Why do I want to be successful? And that's also why it is relevant to people way outside of real estate in any industry. We have people that are doctors and musicians and teachers and people that are not in sales at all, or maybe don't even identify as like an entrepreneur. And yet they're still able to put into practice a GPS, goals, priorities, strategies. People can do that in any area of their life or any career, which is really, really neat. But I love that this material was also brought to you as a newer agent needing some direction, because there's one thing about sales and there's one thing about being a whole human being. And you don't want to be one or the other, right? You want to be able to do both. And so I feel like what you're saying is you were able to put those pieces together and to learn some tools of being like, hey, this is how I'm going to implement it in my business. But it goes far beyond that. Would that be accurate?
That's exactly correct.
Cool. Well, that's amazing. And I'm so glad that you were first introduced in that way. And really, I'm glad that you bet on yourself too. Because I think sometimes people too, if they don't know everything about this class or this organization, then they're like, I'm not going to bother. Whereas you were willing to say, hey, no, I think this is worth my time. I'm going to give it a try. And that's also really important too, that it's like sometimes it's a day, it's an hour or a few hours out of your day, and you go and you get to learn all these different systems. And then, fast forward a few years, you're taking it multiple times, you're becoming a QL Summit leader, you're really implementing the models and systems, which is so, so great. So with that said, what are some of like the most impactful QL models and systems that you utilize every day? You mentioned GPS, you mentioned 411. What are things that you actually put into this?
So those are 2 that I put into practice. Mainly, I needed something that I could measure, and I needed to be able to track these things over a certain amount of time. So that's something that I wasn't doing before QL. I would have these big goals, and then I wouldn't put these parameters and then things expands given the time allowed. So
Hmm.
sometimes if you give yourself all the time in the world, you don't accomplish that goal. And here with coaching and then having these models, I was really able to be more intentional.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And we talk in Quantum Leap about SMART goals. So, and that's putting those perimeters around it of like, how long is this going to take? When do I know is it done? Is it measurable? Like, is there a number attached to it? I think that that's really helpful. I also find that really helpful because I tend to dream really big and brainstorm and get really excited about something, but then not exactly know when or how to get there and what does it actually look like to arrive. And I feel like that really helps us kind of take our really big dreams and walk it back until we're like, okay, what do I do right this moment to get to that big dream? Or what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do today? And I think that helps all of us, whether you don't really know where to start, it gives you a place to start, or you know the finish line, but you have no idea how to get there, kind of thing. And either way, you're able to use those systems. So, do you have any examples that that has helped you with maybe in the last couple years?
So for me, being in real estate, it's all about having conversations with people. And it's about how do I have those conversations with people? In real estate, we call it lead generation. So I'll have specific pillars of lead generation. For me, I like to get in front of people face to face. So some people will have their door knocking, or they'll make phone calls, or they'll send pieces of mail. I like to host open houses. I like to get in front of as many people as possible. And in doing that, I don't have a lot of inventory in my local market. So I lean on the agents at my market center. And some of the things that I can track is how many people am I reaching out to? How many open houses am I hosting? The conversations, and then recording these, um, uh, the contacts, and then making sure that going forward, all I can control are two things, and that's lead generating, following up, and then helping as many people as possible.
Yeah, that's such a great point too, because you get to pick your own strategies. If you have this big goal and then you know what the priorities are, you're able to then say, hey, my strategy is I enjoy hosting open houses. That can be lots of different examples, and we give a lot of examples within Quantum Leap. But what I think is really cool is because you get to pick what like resonates with you or what you enjoy doing. Like I too, when I was a realtor, I very much preferred to host an open house. It was like just having people come over, and then I got to chat with them, and it was a lot easier to have a full conversation with people. And then you get a rapport with them, you get to see body language, you get to like talk to them, maybe they have family members with them, or maybe they tell you, oh, I live up the street and so do you, kind of thing. You get to know people on a personal basis. And then if you can help them by yourself, fantastic. But it's like that conversation is just really enjoyable. So, and maybe some people in whatever industry you're in, some tactic that you're like, not for me. I don't want to do that. So you don't make it one of your strategies, right? You're like, I don't need to pick everything. I'm going to pick the ones that work for me, that I'm actually going to do, that I'm going to look forward to. I think oftentimes when you are trying to accomplish a goal, you start just like throwing every strategy, when it's not down on paper, you're just throwing any idea. Somebody says this worked for them, you try that. You see somebody else doing something, you try that. And having a GPS on paper, you can go back to it and say, was that my strategy? Is that my priority? And then you can like check yourself a little bit too, right? To be able to say, no, that may be working for them, but I didn't choose that one. So I'm going to stick with what I said I was going to do.
That's exactly correct. And in my industry, there's a lot thrown at you at one time. And the sooner that you can figure out, what your skill set is and what path to go down and stick with it, that's really where people find success.
Yeah, it's really true. And, because you're not going to find success if you give up. And that's a lot of also what Quantum Leap teaches us is to just keep going, persevere. If something's not working, take a little windy road if you need to, but still keep your eye on the prize and keep moving forward, which is really helpful and a good reminder. And sometimes, you get setbacks and you get roadblocks and you hit ceilings and so on and so forth, but that doesn't mean that you have to just give up and forget about it. So, actually, kind of that north star that we all talk about in Quantum Leap is our mission statement. So, And our mission statement oftentimes is something that is, or is always something that we can't even accomplish within our lifetime. And then our goals come from that. Do you want to talk a little bit about your mission statement or what is like your driving force? Like when you get all down into the skills and tactics, what is like the big North Star that keeps you going?
So what really drives me is my community and helping as many people as I can in my community, and also doing that through my business. So being in real estate, I meet people from all over the place, different walks of life, different cultures, different communities, that I'm being intentional with leaving a lasting impact through helping those people, and then utilizing education, coaching, so that way I can then grow my business and leverage that to help my community.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so great too, because then your business is your impact in your community. It's not just sales or it's not just how a way to make a living. It's actually being able to interact with people. Are there certain parts of your community that you're really passionate about or you work with specifically or anything like that?
There is. So I'm a member of the Rotary International.
Yeah.
So working in Rotary, there's different outlets for different service organizations. Something that's really prevalent is I work with seniors a lot. So I have three grandparents right now that are all healthy and active and moving. I believe in, honoring your ancestors and helping those that maybe can't help themselves as much. So in real estate right now, we're seeing a lot of people that are in that older generation. We're seeing the baby boomer generation. We're seeing a lot of people that are looking to right size or make these big estate plans and decisions, that I'm spending a lot of my time educating myself to have those conversations, provide those resources to make it an easier conversation, because it is a hard conversation for people to have, and having the right guidance can really ease their mind and provide that level of comfort.
That's really neat. I didn't know that about you, and that's really a cool thing, and I think that that's a great example too, that, like, age is truly just a number, that, like, you as someone who's younger can guide someone who is older through a process. However, in the same way, you feel like I would venture to say that you also learn a lot from them. I mean, our elders and those that came before us have so much wisdom and so much knowledge, and they've lived so much life and they've seen so much because of all that has rapidly changed in our world. Do you find that it's really interesting to work with that demographic to be able to like learn from them while you're also helping them in that stage of life?
Definitely. It's very rewarding. I learn a lot. It requires a level of patience too, because they do want to share everything. They want to talk about all of their experiences, which I love. And I want to give a quick shout out to an inspiration in this too, is Danny Hara, who's awesome, that works with seniors and is also involved with KW NextGen with his property decisions book that's out recently too. So that's part of, having those conversations and navigating that older generation to make the process easier and more comfortable.
I love that so much. And that's just so heartwarming too, because I think that in some cultures around the world, or definitely other times in our history, generations have taken care of each other as they age, or they've maybe lived even more in close quarters. Here in the United States, that's not always the case. Sometimes there's people of older demographics that their families have moved far away from them, don't live anywhere near them, maybe don't have a direct family member nearby. And so I think that it's all of our, just like it's everyone's responsibility to help the next generation and those that come after us and that are younger than us, it's also all of ours responsibility to take care of those that took care of us, that created a world that we get to live in today, and to make sure that they are also taken care of as they get older. Just like we will want to when we get older, we'll want those to like care about us and take care of us and help us walk through the modern day, whatever that looks like in 20, 30, 40 years. So I love that you're doing that. And that also is just like such a cool thing that you at such a young age have decided that that's a priority for you, that it's not because you're just getting into that age and you're like, oh, I want to help my peers. It's the fact that you're actually looking into the future and you're looking at your grandparents and you're thinking, hey, these are people that I really care about. And this is an age demographic that I want to focus on. And I don't know, that just takes a lot of heart. So that's really, really neat. That's
And I
awesome.
have a lot of fun having those sit down conversations and sharing stories. I learn a lot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just like the world has changed so rapidly that you talk to someone that has been around, 20, 30 years longer than you or even more. And you're just like, wow. Like, I love having those conversations with people that are older and just being like, oh my gosh, the world has been such a different place within your lifetime, or you've seen so much, or you've done so much, or just anything. Just it's so crazy. It's really, really neat to hear somebody's life story. So I love that you're able to do that as well. And then, someday you'll be able to be that person too and share all of your life experiences with someone younger, which is really cool. Um, so switching gears a little bit, I know you have gone through coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching experience?
Yes, so coaching helped me realize what my skill set was. It really helped me figure out that 411 and creating that smart plan so that way we could have those measurable goals. I would not have had that before coaching. It provided a level of accountability. So that way, if I didn't achieve that goal that week, then I would have to work at a higher level the next week so that way I could reach that goal. And that was very impactful for me because that's a lifelong lesson. The coaching is so valuable because if you really are intentional with it, then you can carry that throughout the entirety of your career and your life. It doesn't have to be specific to your career. It can just be life goals.
And can you remind me who your coach was?
Robin Lemon.
Yes, Robin. So good. Yeah, and I think that that is what's so unique and amazing about once you've taken a quantum leap class, you have the opportunity, if you're 18 to 29 years old, to apply for this coaching. And I think that coaches and coaching has become such a just big, huge industry. And there's so many people that coach in different ways, which I think is great because we all could use some coaching in all different areas of our life. But what's really neat about our coaches is that they are top tier paid coaches. However, they donate their time for the young people of KW NextGen. And so when you just now said, yes, in business, hold you accountable, that kind of thing, sometimes that's really important. But they're also there with the kindness of their heart, knowing that they want to help you with life too, of saying, hey, is there something outside of business that maybe you want some guidance, or do you want to bounce an idea off of me? So that way, if you're in real estate, these people they know real estate for sure. They also know life, they know business, they know finance, they know tactics to make decisions. They ask the tough questions, to help you really dig a little bit deeper. They hold you accountable, all of those types of things, which is really special as well.
Definitely. It is way more than just business. It's about life.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad you took advantage of the coaching program and that you were able to do that. So, also about the scholarships, correct? You are one of our scholarship recipients. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the scholarship program or your experience with it, what you were able to use the funds for?
Yeah, so I had the privilege of receiving the Fund My Mission scholarship, and I elected to use those funds for education. So I went to Keller Williams Family Reunion in Atlanta this past February, which was a real estate conference, massive, over 13,000 people attended. And it was my first time there. I didn't know what to expect, but I heard a lot. There's only so much that you can really process before getting there, but it's education where there's different breakout sessions and panels. And then there's also organizations and groups within the company that you can then join and learn a little bit more about. So that way you can deepen your connections within the company and then nationally and internationally. So I had the opportunity to meet people from all over the country, all over the world, share some of their tips and their tools and what's working for them, and then also just share cultures and experiences and build friendships and relationships. So I had a great experience that those few days in Atlanta that I'm actually carrying forward and maintaining those connections and those relationships.
That's so great. And we got to see you. You got to come visit us at our booth and everything, which was so fun. And I think that's a great point too for everyone to just make mental note of. Oftentimes you hear scholarships, and I always had known scholarships to just really traditional universities or maybe a trade school, but you usually hear about it as a high schooler or a college student receiving a scholarship. But what's really unique about our scholarships is it does follow an entrepreneurial path. So, yes, if you are in traditional school and you want to use a scholarship for those types of opportunities, you absolutely can. But like Ravi, who is into his career and already out in the world and in his business, there are these great conferences. So if you're within Keller Williams, we have these amazing conferences, Mega Camp, Family Reunion, QL Summit, where you're able to network, get to know more KW people, all of that type of thing. But we also know that people have conferences in all different industries. So again, going back, if you're in medicine or music or whatever, you may have a conference or a training or a certification that you want to attain, or you have more coaching you want to do. What's really unique about our scholarships is you're able to use that for more things because we understand that not everyone takes a very specific path and or maybe you're mid 20s and out of college or out of traditional schooling and you're into your career. It's a really unique and special thing that our scholarships are able to go towards things like family reunion like you did. So a big conference that helps you in your career. And if you happen to be within Keller Williams, especially if you're in leadership or something, this is a great way to help provide this opportunity to young agents. I attended my first mega camp, and it was because attended that I stayed with Keller Williams, that then I wanted to work corporately for. Then I found the nonprofit, then I worked for the nonprofit. So you never know when someone going to a conference or an additional training experience will open like millions and millions of doors for them and help them on their journey. And I love that you were able to do that. And we loved having you there. And, I just hope that your relationships that you developed there and the networking that you were able to do and what you learned there, you're able to just grow and grow and grow. The ROI on that one scholarship is really immeasurable.
Definitely is.
Awesome. Love that. So since you have been able to attend a Quantum Leap, it'll be your third one, I guess, coming up. You also have done the coaching, you're a scholarship recipient. When somebody asks you about being involved in KW NextGen as a young adult, is there any advice you have for them or something you would tell them?
I would say to just dive in. There's a lot to learn, and there's always an opportunity to provide the lessons and the teachings throughout different stages of your life, no matter how successful you are. This is an organization that's willing to pour into you. And if you're willing to accept the coaching and the tools, it will pay off tenfold.
I mean, yeah, that convinced me. So I'll take it. That's awesome. Is there something that in your journey in the last few years, is there something that QL or KW NextGen, but the QL material has helped you overcome or kind of grow into?
Something that QL helped me identify were limiting beliefs. So I think, if you haven't heard the term limiting beliefs before, it's basically thoughts that we have that will limit our actions. So it could be, I can't do this because of this. And sometimes it's not true. And it's often a lot smaller than we think it is. And when I had the privilege of going to QL Summit last year, Gary Keller presented it as fear. We have two different types of fear, that there's your rational fear and your irrational fear. And a lot of it, often it's irrational fear. And it's something that once you can identify it, you can realize, okay, that's not a real fear. And then once I could identify it, I was able to overcome those things.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is what would be maybe one of your limiting beliefs that you're either still moving through or that you've overcome?
So one of it is I'm too young. So if I want to work with seniors, I don't have enough experience, or it could be that I am not good enough. A lot of people have that thought that I'm not good enough, or whatever it is. Doesn't have to be real estate specific. But then once you have that realization that you are good enough, and that you can prepare yourself to work with that certain demographic, or sometimes people think that they can't work with an individual that makes a certain amount of money because they don't live in that sphere, they don't work in that space. That's a limiting belief. So in order to get to those places, we have to demolish those limiting beliefs, and then you can get there.
I like that, using the demolishing, just like tear it all the way down completely. And I think that a lot of people, I guess at any age, but like pets, I'm too young, and then all of a sudden you blink your eyes and you're like, I'm too old, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you're not too either, And so I think it is really important to have confidence in yourself of saying, I am young, And that doesn't disqualify me from working with people that are older than me. Your example of working with someone that maybe has a lot of wealth, that can be very intimidating sometimes, especially if maybe you didn't grow up with it or you aren't around it on a regular basis. But again, you don't know where they came from. You don't know how they grew up necessarily. They may also be like, how did I even get here? Kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I think also surrounding ourselves with a diverse amount of people also helps us step into different roles too, of being like, hey, if I only surround myself with the people that are my age or my economic status or whatever it is, then it also doesn't help us grow or expand into a diverse type of person too. So I love that. And I think that your point of Gary talking about fear, that it's like, yeah, there is rational fear. Like if you are, I don't know, if you're being chased by a lion, that is like a rational fear of like, you should be fearful and run from the lion. But if you are sitting in an office and you're scared of a lion, that's irrational because there is no lion, kind of thing. And a lot of times we make our own stresses or our own doubts into that level of a fear of like feeling like we're running from a lion when really it's just intimidating meeting or a phone call we need to make or a conversation we need to have, or we're fearful of an awkward moment, kind of thing. And it's like, you just have to like demolish it and push it down and say, I'm going to move forward anyway. And then you can prove to yourself that you can rise above that, which is helpful. To be honest, there's a lot of self-development tools out there, both in real estate, outside of real estate, all of it. What do you think makes Quantum Leap really stand apart from the rest?
I think QL is really special in curating it for the individual. That it's not about a specific industry, it's about who you are. And then once you decide and figure out who exactly you are, you can create a plan that works for you. And it's not on any set timeline. There aren't any of these ultimatums, but it really is about creating a plan that works for you so that way you can follow through and not give up on the plan to ultimately live the big life that you want to live. Not about a life that somebody else wants you to live or what somebody else thinks is success. Success can look different for a lot of different people.
That's so true, and that's one of my favorite parts about Quantum Leap is I think, like, before I ever heard it, I knew innately within myself that I wanted to define success my own way, and I always kinda have, but I hadn't ever had someone, like, teach it to me or say, like, "Actually, this is truth," that, like, you get to define your own success. You get to your point, curate it to your own personal life. That it's not like, here's what has worked for one person, you should follow them. It's like, okay, here are some models, here's some frameworks, here's some guidelines to then completely personalize it to your own definition. And I think what's cool about that too is like it changes. Like, do you feel like it has changed within your experience over the last couple years? Maybe you defining what your own success looks like. Has it shaped and changed throughout time?
Yes, I'm accomplishing more now in less time than I thought I was possible.
Put that on like a bumper sticker or a t-shirt like that. That is, I
Yes.
mean, wouldn't we all want to do that?
Sometimes we create these goals and we don't put the measurables behind them, and then it fills the space that time allows. So having this type of structure here, I can accomplish more in a year than I thought I would have 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And like, it's also once you prove that to yourself, then it almost turns into a game of being like, how much can I accomplish? Or if I give myself a little bit of a tighter timeline here, maybe I could actually get it done quicker instead of being like, oh, that'll probably take me lots like years. Oh, that'll take me months, or whatever. When you actually challenge yourself to say, no, I'm going to have this done by this date or this time or this amount of time, then you push yourself to actually get it done because you don't want to let yourself down. And then once you accomplish it, you're like, oh, well, what else can I accomplish? And it actually like rewires your brain to tell yourself that you're able to do it and you hold yourself accountable to it. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm going to push myself further, which is fun. Then it makes life fun because you're accomplishing goals faster and bigger in a shorter amount of time.
It
Love
is.
that.
It's a lot more fun, and then you also have this higher level of confidence.
Absolutely. And it reinforces that confidence too. Anytime that we're able to prove ourselves right, that we can do something, then we're like, it's a good level of confidence. And confidence also can be helpful for those around us too. People start watching and saying, oh, they got that done. They finished that. They accomplished that. They're doing that in their life. It can actually inspire those around us to be like, oh, I want to do that too, or I want to do something similar. If they can do it, I can do it, kind of thing, which I think is a really great ripple effect as well. So we are a nonprofit, as you know, and KW NextGen is not able to do anything at all without our donors, without our volunteers. Is there anything that you'd like to say to those that are above our age demographic, not the young people like yourself, but over 30 that are supporting KW NextGen?
A little bit of support goes a really long way. And the amount of support that you can give, whatever it is, really makes a big impact. There are people that just need some direction, that need some mentoring, some coaching that can really set them apart to help themselves, their families, their communities, and then ultimately going back to passing it along, paying it forward, helping the next generation. If we take care of the next generation, then they will take care of you too.
I've gotten to know you a little bit, but I didn't know that part of your business and the part of your focus. And I think that's so, so true that it's like we're taking care of those that are coming after us so that they can help take care of us too. And I think that that is why our organization is so important and so valuable and why it is my full-time job is because I think, like I always say that I'm kind of passing the torch. I might not be an older person quite yet, but I am slightly older than you all. And I know that there were lots of people in my 20s that supported me, that cheered me on, that helped me think bigger, that helped me connect me with people, jobs, resources, so on and so forth, that helped me get to my goals. And if we're able to do that for those that are, a little bit younger than us, that's such a gift. And I would hope that as I continue to age, or all of us continue to age, we look in both directions. We look for those that are older than us that we can help, and we look for those that are younger than us that we can help. And I think that that is that generational pass of the baton that hopefully we'll all be lucky enough to be a part of as we age and grow older.
Definitely.
That. Well, Ravi, this has been such a great conversation. I'm glad that I had a chance to get to know you a little bit better and to learn more about what you're doing in the world and also in your business. Is there anything else you want to share before we hop off?
I just want to thank everybody that supported NextGen. If you're thinking about going to QL or participating in NextGen going forward, I highly encourage it.
Love that. Absolutely. And get involved in any way that resonates with you. As Ravi shared, you're involved in lots of different ways. And so there's different paths that you can be involved with KW NextGen, whether it's a small donation or all the way through taking classes, getting coaching, getting scholarships, so on and so forth. There is a place for everyone. And it is just such a beautiful community. And I think that that's what's great about this podcast is we get to have these conversations of how it has influenced your life. But then what's more important is how you're influencing the lives around you through the skills that you've learned. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Caitlin. Great chatting with you too.
Thank you so much for joining for this episode of the KW NextGen podcast. We hope that maybe your interest was piqued to attend a class or get more involved. If you're between the ages of 18 and 29, we would love to have you in a Quantum Leap class. So go to our website, kwnextgen.org, and click events. Find maybe an event in person near you or an event online. They're always being added, so check back if you don't see one that fits your schedule. And if you're beyond 30, we would absolutely appreciate you considering being a donor. KW NextGen cannot provide these events, coaching, or scholarships without generous donations like yours. So again, visit our website at kwnextgen.org and click donate. If you become a monthly donor, you get great perks, or a one-time gift is always appreciated of any size. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. This podcast is for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KW NextGen and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This product is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.